Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September 21st Traffic Commission meeting. Members present are Frank Stringy, City Planner, Fire Chief Christopher Bright, myself, Paul Agenzio, Superintendent of Public Works. If you can join me in a salute to the flag. We're going to start off with the public hearings. The first thing is to amend Schedule 6 of Title 10 of the revised city ordinance of the City of Revere by adding stop signs as follows. Malden Street for westbound traffic at Newhall Street, Malden Street eastbound traffic at Newhall Street, Newhall Street northbound traffic at Malden, and Newhall Street southbound traffic at Cushman Avenue. These signs have already been placed in the interest of public safety. We are now having a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of these changes?
Good afternoon, Chris Janino, 46 Grand Street there. I'm in favor of the stop signs. The stop signs are there. A lot of the cars are stopping. A lot of cars are going through it to get used to it. We do need the stop lines put in. The two signs for Newhall Street are just for housekeeping purposes. The signs have been there for years. They're not recorded. So I'm in favor of it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed to these stop signs? Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Any comments from the commission?
I think it's working out well, and what's needed is the pavement markings.
I spoke
to
with
reinforce the stop signs, and fine.
I spoke with the company this morning. That should be happening within a week to 10 days. All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. So ordered. Also, traffic calming measures for the same area. Add raised crosswalks or speed tables at Hall's Corner on Malden Street in front of Vinnie's Market. Place traffic calming measures in strategic locations from Washington Ave through the length of Malden Street to help slow the speed of motorists. And paint stop on the street next to each stop sign. So we will be painting stop in addition to the stop bar. The raised crosswalk speed table at Hall's Corner, I believe we're going to have an engineer look at that. That crosswalk may be too close to the corner. And then we are currently installing speed bumps around the city. Later on in the meeting, I believe Julie DeMauro will be presenting some procedures that we will be following or hope to follow in the future. So do we want to table these few things until we come up with a policy on speed tables and speed bumps?
Yeah, I would recommend that we table the speed humps and speed table for that section of Malden Street until we do a further analysis and the proper placement of these speed humps and whether they'll work more efficiently and effectively. But if we can go forward with the stop
the painting on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, second?
Seconded.
This piece will be tabled. Number 3, Schedule 8 of Title 10, parking restrictions generally by adding a 15-minute parking spaces on the east side of Walnut Ave at the corner of 104 Shirley Avenue next to the laundromat. Anyone in favor of this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Ira Novoselsky, 53D Home Street, Ward 2 Councilor. This was requested by the laundromat folks. All the people are getting tickets because it's permit parking there, and also there's meters there. So people have been getting ticket unloading, just unloading. So they requested a 15-minute zone. So I marked it off about 20 feet beyond the no parking here, the corner sign. So.
Okay, and there are meters currently there?
Not at that point,
Oh,
no.
okay.
On Shirley Ave, the meters.
Okay.
There's permit parking on Walnut Ave on that end. So if we gave them 15 minutes, so it should override that.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone opposed to these changes?
Good evening, members of the Traffic Commission. Zach Barber, Director of Parking, 300 Broadway. I wanted to pass some photos out to the clerk for the members of the commission. Of course, sir. I didn't know this was coming. So, as you can see from the first photo, on the right side where the 15 minutes being proposed, there's already a no parking here to corner, and then there's one parking space leading up to the driveway of the Carl Hyman Towers. The second photo shows the left side of the roadway, right across from where it's being proposed. It's a no parking here to corner, and then it's a loading zone. So we've already restricted parking pretty tightly on a very narrow street that holds multiple housing units within the 50 Carl Hyman Towers. And the other thing is there are meters up and down the corridor that allow for parking turnover for these customers or these businesses. One of the issues we've been running into with these customers is that they are deciding to park where the sign says no parking here to corner, obstructing within the 20 feet of intersection. So most of the violations we have issued haven't really been for resident parking as much as it is just for not abiding by what the posted sign is.
So you're not in favor of this change?
No, I think as we continue to take parking spaces away, as you see what we've done on both sides of the street, especially with 100 Shirley Ave coming on board, we've already taken away the first, looks like 90 feet of that street on the left side for parking. And one of the biggest complaints we get is the Carl Hyman Towers, as they're allowed to have visitors on this street after noon. That's when resident parking ends. It seems that we keep tightening up the street little by little and taking away more and more parking available spaces. And the Carl Hyman Towers, they don't let any guest park within their property. They're all forced to park within the street. And I definitely understand, making sure that this business is helped and that they have room for their customers. But that was the idea of the parking meters along Shirley Ave.
Okay, and on the left-hand side, from the no parking here to corner, that from there down is all loading zone? What gets loaded in and out of there?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing that was done when this 100 Shirley Ave came online for those commercial establishments. I believe it's a convenience store or something like that underneath that building. I'm guessing that loading zone came on board after this building was finished being constructed.
Okay. Do you ever see anyone parking there?
Honestly, I'm not on the street as much, and I haven't really asked on how often this loading zone is used.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else opposed to this change? Members of the commission? I mean, it seems like this loading zone sign, Councilor Novoselsky, do you remember?
I can tell you exactly.
Okay.
That loading zone sign's been there even before from the old building, way back when, several years.
Okay,
And it was put there for the convenience store that was there then, which is now back.
okay,
And the same people have come back there. So, and it is used, for loading and unloading. Do people park anywhere they want at times? Absolutely. As far as the space on the right-hand side where I'm proposing the 15 minutes, there's one space there before the driveway of the laundromat. It will not affect anybody on the street, and permit parking is 24 hours there. We've turned all, you folks turned everything over to 24-hour parking, even though the signs may not be up to date, but it is 24-hour parking anyway. One space is not going to make the difference. And I would ask, I don't know if I put a time on it. Did I put a time on that? I don't remember.
No, there's no time.
Well, I could say make it 8 to 6 so the residents can park there overnight.
Okay. Add 15 minutes, right? So,
But, you know, across the street has no effect. It's not a tight street. You know, it is a wide street there. Cars can go side by side down the street if they had to. So, I'm just trying to take care of the local businessman and help him out and help his customers out.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, I'd have no problem with putting the 15-minute parking there on that right side. If we pick up another parking space on the left side and reduce that loading zone, if we could do that, it seems like it's pretty long.
and what about the suggestion that we put times on it so at night residents can park there? So the time, what do we propose, 7 to 5? 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.? Monday through Saturday?
I was gonna say 8 to 6.
8 to 6. 8 to 6.
And I would have no problem reducing the size of that loading zone. You know, it is long.
Through Saturday. And on the left side, we can reduce the loading zone to 1 space? Okay,
So we pick up another parking space.
so we
on that
pick
side.
up a
Correct.
spot there. Okay. All in favor of this amended?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Number 4, Title 10, Chapter 10.36, Section 10.36.065 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere is hereby created by inserting the following new section in its entirety. Request an ordinance establishing free parking for individuals with veteran and military license plates. The plates to follow are Veteran, Bronze Star, Silver Star, Purple Heart, Medal of Honor, Legion of Valor, Pearl Harbor Survivor, Distinguished Flying Cross, XPOW, Medal of Liberty, Disabled Veteran, Gold Star Family. The provisions of this section apply only to parking meter fees and do not waive any other restrictions governing a parking space, including but not limited to time limits, no parking restrictions, handicap parking requirements, fire hydrant requirements, tow zones, street sweeping, and resident permit parking areas. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this?
Zach Babo, Director of Parking, 300 Broadway. So, as we are aware, the City of Revere is a Purple Heart city. We always try to look for different ways to honor our veterans and continue to show our appreciation. This was the most recent one. The parking department thought they can get involved, how they can get involved and really show appreciation to them. And so working with former VSO Mark Silvestri, we came up with these various different plates that are offered through the RMV for people that served in the military. And these are the ones that we had put together on this list, these ones we thought were accommodable and allow that there are no parking meter fees to any veterans moving on from this day if the commission decides to approve it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Sure.
Christine Robertson, 187 Charter Street. I ask that you also put on this list National Guard plates, because those are also issued to our military men. So they should also be on here.
Okay. Mr. Barber, did we consider that?
So during our discussion, we had sat down. It was determined that sometimes the National Guard plates are issued to active duty members, and
Okay.
it takes, I'm not really rehearsed, but I think it takes 6 to 8 years to be able to get veteran status under National Guard.
Okay.
So that was one of the reasons why the VSO, is it 20 years? Thank you. So that's why the VSO, myself, and the Solicitor's Office had decided we weren't going to include that one.
Okay.
But we're always open to suggestions from the public and whatever the wishes of the Traffic Commission are.
Okay. All right, so maybe we'll consider that at a future date, because those active, okay, sure, please. Hi, just press the button, sir, and so we can hear.
The other 43%, remember the button. Okay, Mitt Romney, you know, nice jokes. Anyway, Thank you, Commissioner. I'm here.
Could you just give your name and address?
Oh, the name is Albert Dathan. The address is anywhere, anyplace, anytime, because I'm a homeless veteran.
Okay.
So no matter where I've been, including the police or Mass and Cass asking me to leave the hot point of Mass and Cass off
Okay.
Atkins. The state police in Revere the other day, my car got stuck, asking me if you could get it on the side or something. There's no consideration for us homeless veterans, okay? And I would like that the United States government take us into fact that we still exist, okay? Whether I'm in Boston, Revere, anywhere I go, I have that parking situation, okay?
So you have a car?
I have a car. I sleep in my car when I have to sleep in my car.
Okay.
And whoever wants to let me sleep on the couch or sleep on the roof or anything, that's it. But I find it a big disgrace, okay, that I got to go through this, okay?
So you're in favor of this, these
Well, I'd like
parking, this
to
free
include,
parking?
but I'd like to include something for homeless veterans, okay? Because we don't have anywhere to go, and we gave up our homes for this nation. We even have given up our lives, okay?
I agree with you, sir.
So
Do you have a, so you don't have a plate that's specifically marked military? A license
No, I
plate?
don't have one. I've been discriminated against by the federal government of the United States wrongfully. 6 months it took me just to get a driver's license back with the real ID driver's license. And for reasons of me being who I am, I can understand they don't want to give me a real ID driver's license, okay? I can understand that, okay? But in the meantime, they didn't even want to put military on my driver's license at the Registry of Motor Vehicles right down the street.
Have you stopped by Veteran Services at all to see if you could discuss this with them?
Well, I am ashamed to say I'm a veteran, okay? I'm very much disgusted and ashamed to say I'm a veteran, okay? But I can't lie to God. He knows my dirty deeds, okay?
Okay,
What
so
we call an honor to other people is a disgrace.
I understand your situation, and I don't mean to cut you short, but this is specifically about license plates and free parking spots. This really isn't a place that we can help you.
No.
But if you go to Veteran Services, they can certainly steer you in the right direction.
Well, I'm just saying, you being the commission and the council of Revere can take that into effect, because I spoke to a lot of the people in Revere saying, you know, the beach, 2 blocks from the beach at least should be anybody parking zone. I'm just gonna leave this saying, when Revere leaves Revere, Revere is parking somewhere else. It is not a self-supporting, self-sustaining city, okay? We go work wherever we go to work, as well as all the other towns. All of a sudden, all the mayors, the presidents, the governors got together, and everything became no parking, you know? I'm
Well,
gonna end
we're
with
trying to
this,
change this for the
Yeah,
veterans
yeah.
right now, so.
but I'm just gonna end it by saying that this being the month of 9/11, we saw how it was when a plane parked itself into a building. That's not where planes are supposed to be parked, right? We need to share the parking spaces, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And please visit Veteran Services. They may be able to help you out.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Ira Novoselsky, 53 Dearborn Street. I think this is a great list, and I do agree that National Guard should be put on it. They're still wearing the uniform. And, I wore it for 21 years in the Guard, and, I became a veteran because of my 20 years. And I do have veteran plates. So I would ask, and I had National Guard plates before that. So I would ask that the National Guard be added to it. They put the uniform on like we all did in the past. So I think they should be entitled to it.
So is there a specific National Guard veteran plate?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it says National Guard, it's a vanity plate, all the plates are vanity plates. But this is a National Guard is part of the veterans, so
Okay,
I
so
would say they wear the uniform, they should get the same
are you
deal.
willing to make that amendment?
Motion to amend to include the National Guard in the list of
Okay.
plates that we have.
Right. Yeah, but
Okay.
it doesn't say veteran,
Okay,
right.
all right, so with that amendment, motion, second, motion to approve? So ordered. You're welcome. Number 5, Schedule 6 of Title 10, Heavy Commercial Vehicles, Restricted Streets by adding no trucks allowed from Revere Beach Parkway to Mill Street. Signage to be placed at the corner of Mill Street. Councilor McKenna was unable to attend tonight, but she wanted to say that she was in favor of this and thinks it's well needed. Do we have anyone in favor of no commercial vehicles on Mill Street? Please.
Christine Robertson, 187 Charger Street. I don't live in this area, but I live on a street where we also have 2 no trucks signs posted, one at the corner of Malden Street and Charger, and one at the corner of Rumney Road and Charger. And the problem with these signs, although I'm grateful for them, they are not enforced. There's no enforcement. And I've spoken with Chief Callahan about this, and he has said the same thing. He said, we're doing the best we can. But, I mean, I can show you pictures that I sent to my counselor yesterday of 4 U-Haul trucks right in a row come down my street. We have trash trucks, we have construction trucks, we have FedEx, US Mail, UPS, Amazon. We have an array of them. I'm just hoping that at some point in the city that we will be able to, and I've said this before, you know, you don't want to slap a ticket on these people, but stop them and say, you know what, you're cutting through a residential area. You know, be, you know, kind to the people that live here. We have a designated trucking route in this city, which is 107 to Squire Road, off of Route 1, off of American Legion Highway, off of 107. That is the designated trucking route in this city,
Okay.
and it should be abided by. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to this heavy trucking sign? Do I have a motion by the commission?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve? Okay. And second, Councilor McKenna would like to change the speed limit on Mill Street from 25 miles to 20. DOT would need to be contacted if approved. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of reducing the speed limit on Mill Street from 25 to 20 miles per hour? Anyone opposed to reducing the speed limit? Feeling of the commission?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
I always thought you can't change the speed limit of one street. I thought it has to be blanketed, all the speed limits the same within the city district.
I couldn't tell you, but
Frank, would you know?
in
Yeah,
this,
I do know that Mass DOT has a requirement that you have to do a study, speed limit study, to show that more than, at least 80% of the vehicles going down that street are going 20 miles per hour to change the speed limit.
okay. Even on residential streets, that
Yeah.
any street in the city, Mass DOT
Correct.
has,
To reduce it to 20.
okay. All right, so then Councilor McKenna can then take this up with Mass DOT. Okay, so we'll table that and we'll speak to Councilor McKenna about contacting Mass DOT. Yes. Oh, did we do, yes.
Just for the record, we have to submit something to Mass DOT from the city
Okay,
with the request. They're going to want some traffic studies done from us to request a speed change on that.
we need to do the traffic study
We got to do the
prior.
traffic study. The traffic study is by the city,
Okay,
and also the truck route has to be approved by the state with the request from the city. And if they have to give them a alternate truck route, then they approve it or deny it.
okay,
All right?
thanks. Okay, we'll table that for the time being then. Schedule 11 of Title 10, Handicapped Person Parking, 6 Yeaman Street. look into swapping the handicap spot outside of Revere City Hall on Broadway with a spot located at the corner of Broadway and Pleasant Street, which is currently police parking only. This HP spot should have an inlet and the ramp allowing access into the sidewalk. Park Avenue spot outside of Harry Delarusso Stadium, as an example. Going forward, change the process of installing HP signs from one sign to two, one at the beginning of the parking spot and one at the end, so the vehicle park in between. Signs with metal poles installed in the ground for each sign that is approved. Okay? Anyone wish to speak in favor of this?
Mr. Chairman, just as a point of clarification, it's actually two different spots, one in Yeaman Street in front of the post office, and then also handicap spot outside Revere City Hall. As a suggestion, I was just saying how the inlet is at the police, where the police spot is in City Hall. Either way, that would have to be elongated there, or move closer to the middle of City Hall, because that is not the proper distance right now, but it would have to figure out what a feasibility would be for cost-wise. I just used that as an example where the Revere Police, because it probably would be cheaper because it's already started as an inlet, and we just have to add to that. So I don't know if Frank was able to find out.
So are you saying that this inlet is required?
On a public street, we should have an inlet there because you're not, if it's city handicaps, if it's being used for municipal buildings or federal buildings, it's not an official handicap spot because somebody who's disabled, you're not supposed to be letting them to get out into the roadway, and there's no access to get onto the city, onto the sidewalk, because it's actually there for a municipal building.
Okay. Do we want to table this until we can get a cost estimate for installing these inlets?
Yeah, I agree. I think we should table it until we get that, or we speak to the police department regarding that change.
Right, and the police department spot doesn't meet the requirements because it's not long enough?
It's not long enough, but cost-wise, it may be cheaper just to make that a bit longer instead of digging up a longer spot.
Okay.
Because it's already there. So that's just for engineering in cities.
Okay. Motion to table. Motion.
Second.
Number 7, Schedule 8 of Title 10, parking restrictions generally, removing parking restrictions generally at Revere Street Markets Orioles, 15-minute parking. So this is Councilor Cogliandro. He is looking to remove that 15 minutes and changing it to 60 minutes in recognition of the new business that's located there. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? I know Councilor Cogliandro is definitely in favor of this. He contacted me today. Anyone else in favor? Anyone opposed?
Ralph DeChico, 49 Washington Street. It's not that I'm opposed to it. The only question that I have is we have a business 2 doors up, which is a convenience store, that has a 15-minute parking. So are we setting a precedent that one business has 60-minute parking and 2 doors down, another business only has a 15-minute parking? So that's my question and concern with it. And they're right there, they're on the same block. So you have one on one end of the street, the same block that would go to a 16-minute, then you'll have 2 spots in between that don't, and then you have another one that has another 15-minute, that has a 15-minute parking. Mm-hmm. So was the justification for having one that's a 16-minute parking and another one that's 15-minute parking? And the other problem that I do see with that is you do have a school that's right there. What's to say that you're going to have people leaving their car there for an hour, and it's going to cause more of a problem for the businesses that are right there?
Mm-hmm. I think the business is a shoe store, so he may feel as though that people will be in there longer than people running into a convenience store. I can only surmise that, but I believe that was his reasoning, that the nature of the business, the customers would be in there longer. Anyone opposed to this? Any further opposition? Members of the commission?
I think we should be consistent, and maybe we increase it to 15-minute to 20-minute and allow this to be 20-minute. I don't recall anything for 60-minute parking in the city.
Yeah, I don't believe we have anything that currently, okay. Do you want to table it? Yes.
Just to follow up with Frank, there are 60 minutes, but they say 1 hour on them. We have a few of them throughout the city.
At
And-
businesses?
Yeah. And to piggyback off what he said, I think 30 minutes kind of makes sense, right in the middle. If you're going to want to be consistent with between the convenience store and, because you do also have the dance studio across the street from all these businesses. You have 4 businesses in one quadrant. You have AC's Cards and Games, One Stop Convenience, the karate, the shoe store, and the dance studio. So I definitely understand the accommodation that Carvana is trying to make, where now the stores where it used to be a dry cleaner before, and then it was a convenience store. So I can understand 15 minutes would be more than suitable, but now it seems because of the changing of businesses that maybe the time should be increased by a little bit.
So we're talking about taking these two 15-minute parking spots and make them 30s? Or keep
I
the
have no problem
15
with
at
that.
the
Yeah.
convenience store?
It's a compromise. Have a motion to amend? Yeah. I'll second that.
Second, okay. I mean, the 15-minute at the convenience store, is that person satisfied with that? I mean,
I know they've had, there's new owners there, so
Okay.
it seems like the over the past year, it looks like there's different owners, so I don't know if they really even realize it.
okay.
But I'm just saying for consistent basis, they may have a problem. If they go to an hour there, it may not help them that it's an hour, especially with the dance school there. Somebody for the dance school may go park there for an hour, and it's not gonna allow them to get their people going into the
Okay,
shoe store.
So how about a motion to keep that 15-minute consistent, and the 60-minute will cut to 30 minutes? Does that sound okay? All right, make a motion, please.
Second.
Second. Okay, let's see. We're going into requests now. The public hearing portion of this meeting is done. Requests. Amend Schedule 11 of Title 10 handicap person parking by adding 51 Endicott Avenue, 512 Park Avenue, and 115 Hitchborn Street.
Mr. Chairman, I just ask that we can ask for a public hearing on all 3 of these. I also have a late one for a HP sign removal
Okay.
to look into. Someone had come to the office this morning, and it's 28 Reservoir Ave.
Has the
The-
circumstances changed yet?
It's, he's a new homeowner, and what he is saying that the sign was either for the person that passed away next door or the person across the street that's no longer living.
Living
so,
there?
Yeah.
I'm sure we can just remove that then.
Yeah, so I wanted to put that on there, and then you know about the other 2 addresses on Endicott.
Right.
For that.
Okay, should a motion to move this to a public hearing?
Motion.
Motion, second. Move to a public hearing. Second, amend Schedule 23 of Title 10 towaway zones, off-street parking areas by adding the following. No parking signage and towaway zone for 12 Folsom Street on the eastern side heading north along the commercial building. So this is on Folsom alongside that commercial building. I believe there's a parking problem there. Anthony Cogliandro contacted me today and apologizes he is not here, but he believes that the parking department is having a lot of issues, has done an outstanding job with enforcement, but has not been a deterrent for those who continue to park there. What prompted the tow zone idea comes from these people receiving a ticket, knowing they can't receive a second ticket and keeping their vehicles there as long as they want to. So apparently they're getting tickets, but it behooves them to just pay the ticket and keep the parking spot. So should we move this to a public hearing?
This is the building, the auto, with the auto body?
Auto body was the old North Shore bus?
Yeah, I agree, move it to a public hearing.
Okay. Second. Move to a public hearing. Number 3, amend section 10.34.020, section F, to include 4 Hawes Street, making the residents eligible for residential parking. Frank, you familiar with this address?
Zach Barber, Parking Director, 300 Broadway. So currently, this building is listed on the city as, I believe, 16 or 17 one-bedroom units. Come to find out that's not how it's set up, but it's not on record with us. So I've worked with this landlord to try to combat some of these issues. And like I said, the city has it on record as 17 one-bedrooms. He has 22 off-street parking spaces.
Okay.
And he conveyed that years ago. I believe the prior landlord was a father of his father, and they converted 4 of the units into 2 bedrooms and 12 of the units into 1 bedrooms. So amplified the amount of rooms that there were, which increased the demand. And like I said, I tried to get him to get me this information from the building department, but the building department only has on record that there are only 1-bedroom units in this building.
Okay. And they have 22 off-street parking spots?
Correct. They
Thank
have
you.
one attached to the property at 4 Hawes Street and one across the street behind AC's Cards and Games that they also own that lot.
Okay.
Since they do have 22 parking spaces, I would do what we did in the past and leave this up to the discretion of the parking department to issue a certain number of resident parking stickers, rather than designate the whole building
Okay.
for residents to take a parking.
Okay, so we'll table this and leave this up to the discretion of the person in charge of the parking department, Zach. Thank you. Number 4, Julie DeMauro would like to speak on the following. DPCD will be implementing a road diet at the base of Page and Broadway to reduce the crossing width of the crosswalk from 96 to 55 feet. If you want to.
Yep, Julie DeMauro, Department of Planning and Community Development. I'm requesting a public hearing on behalf of the department. We will be conducting a road diet at the bottom of Page and Broadway. As stated, we'll be reducing the crossing width from 96 feet to 55 feet. This will eliminate a parking spot on each side of the base of Page, but it will allow for 1 additional metered spot on Broadway, on the northeastern side of Broadway. You have a copy of the plans that we sent for this request for the public hearing. And this is all part of the Broadway master plan to improve pedestrian accommodations as well as to beautify that area. This will also reduce the frequent vehicles turning around in that gooseneck there. So we're just requesting a public hearing at the next traffic meeting to do this and for the elimination of parking. With
Okay.
so you will lose 2 spots on Page, but you will gain an additional metered spot on Broadway. The businesses have been notified because this is a federally funded project, so we had to give them notification. And then we will also notify them of the public hearing if you approve it, where they can come and speak on behalf of it or not in favor of it.
Okay.
But they have been notified.
Thank you very much. Motion to move this to a
Motion to move to public hearing. Second.
Okay. Julie, did you want to have a discussion on speed bumps before you?
Yep, so I want to just say, first of all, I applaud everybody's efforts for being so conscientious of trying to make the roadways safer for everyone. And this discussion is not to say that the traffic calming measures being proposed are bad, not good, or what have you. You just want to make sure that we're putting these traffic calming measures, specifically speed humps, down in the appropriate places, and really where the roadway criteria actually warrants something of this type in terms of reducing speed on the roadway. So we've been doing a little research, and part of it too is that our department is getting a lot of kind of request of how this happened. Were they notified? They weren't notified. There's some noise issues too with these speed bumps. Traffic, they're not slowing down fast enough, and the residents around there. There has been some complaints about traffic being diverted around other streets. And I think just realistically, I don't think anybody is saying, no to these things. I think they just want to know what the process is. The guidance of which we're following is to put these in, and as well, allowing the public to speak on behalf of these, whether they're in favor of them or not. So what I presented to you earlier is just some procedures and guidelines that we should look into before we place these all over the city. I know there was a request tonight to consider them on Washington Ave and on Malden Street. Typically, you do not put these on roadways that are not straight. You don't put these on roadways that are transit uses, such as, buses. You don't put them on first responding routes without approval from police and fire. And I do know, just doing some research on some of the other ones that have been put in, there was a communication from the police department that they weren't notified. So I think we just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that this measure is put in the correct place and is put in properly.
Okay, so my suggestion is maybe we should contact the mayor's office. I know in the solicitor's office, they have a policy writer now. That's her job specifically, and we can get these suggestions and get them to that person and create something, and then bring it before the Traffic Commission and memorialize it.
And the other piece of this, the department also has 3 on-call traffic engineers, and we hired them. Well, this is part of the service, is to provide us technical assistance. So that is something that once this policy goes into place, we can bring one of them in to kind of review the criteria, make sure it is a good fit, and then we'll be able to roll this out with the clear specifics and criteria for that roadway.
Okay, sounds like a good suggestion. Thank you very much. So you'll
Thank you.
follow up with the mayor's office and the policy writer?
Will do.
Thank you very much.
Will do.
All right, I think that's it. Am I correct, Laurie?
There's one more.
There's one more. Okay. Okay, hold on. You have a lot of paperwork here. Okay, thank you. Okay, the last request is amend Schedule 9 of Title 10, isolated stop signs, and RRO Section 10.16.080 stop signs by 1, remove stop sign at Fitzhenry Square westbound at Campbell. Add a stop sign on Campbell Ave eastbound at Nahant. Add a stop sign on Fitzhenry Square westbound at Nahant Avenue, and add a stop sign on Campbell Court northbound at Campbell Avenue. Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Ira Novoselsky, 53 D Hone Street, Ward 2 Counselor. I've been contacted on a regular basis by the residents of Campbell Ave between Walnut Ave and Centennial Ave, and cars are speeding a lot from Walnut Ave to Centennial, and then coming past Fitzhenry, going past Nahant Ave and making the turns quite fast. So what was suggested that we take the sign out of Fitzhenry Square, which is not an intersection. It's a sort of a crossroad. And there's no cross-traffic at that location. The other thing was to add a stop sign on Campbell Ave going eastbound from Walnut Ave at Nahant Ave. So they'd have to stop there and add a stop sign at Campbell Ave westbound. Actually, it's Fitzhenry Square westbound at Campbell Ave. And then the last one would be coming down Campbell Court, which is the dead-end street that intersects with Campbell Ave, to put a stop sign there. So we're trying to control traffic as much as possible. The calming measures as we use in a lot of issues. So I would ask that we have a public hearing to make these happen.
Okay, do I hear a motion to move this to a public hearing?
Motion to move to a public hearing.
Second? Second, thank you. All in favor? Okay, what's the next date, Laurie, in October? Third Thursday.
October 20th.
Okay, our next meeting will be Thursday, October 20th at 5 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.